Welcome everybody to day 2. Little music, little smudging while we're waiting for everybody to join. Hi Amy. Hi Regine. Hi Diana. Hi Dana. Hi Jade. Hi Marie. Hi Susan. Hi Cynthia. Cynthia. It's the music. Cynthia. A symphony for Cynthia. Marie. Susan. So even though you can't smell the sage, just inviting the cleansing energy into your space. The softness of the desert, the vastness of the sage of the desert. And I like thinking of the flat desert as this, disentangling space to disentangle. Marie says hi from London. Regine says hi from Munich or München. Am I saying that right? München? Perfect. Ending with the music. And hello and welcome to the Breakthrough into the True You series. We are in class 2, all about becoming fearless more. And, we've all been in this, myself included. I put myself in the remote healing container too. And, we've all been in this remote healing bubble for the whole last month. And I've actually kept the window open. So they reopened the shopping cart for the best of the best of week with From Heartache to Joy. So people are able to hop back on or into the program this week. And they get 21 days starting on the 7th. So I've just extended it for everybody. So you all get an extra 30 days. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm seeing. So I figure, you guys, jumped on right away, and, while the healing bubble is open, might as well just include everybody. So I haven't announced that in an email or anything yet. And at the end of the program, there will be an option to continue it longer. And after the program, I'll let everybody know about that in future correspondence and in the last class. So yay, goody goodies. Yes, I love goody goodies. Everybody likes receiving gifts, right? I know I do. So it's so funny. I have to share a personal story that happened yesterday about breaking through into freedom from fear. So yesterday morning, 2 days ago, I was totally surprised. I had a client who was visiting in from Alabama and who was in Sedona, and she invited me to come out and so we could meet. We've been working together for over 6 months, and like, I'm gonna be in town, can you meet for lunch? And I'm like, absolutely. So I did a surprise picnic, and we took her to this little perfect little river spot that really only the locals know about in Sedona, and had a picnic. Well, she treated me to a helicopter ride, and I have never been in a helicopter before. I've been in the smaller planes. I've done that a couple times, but I thought the helicopter was going to be a lot scarier than the smaller planes. And it was actually reverse. Like, you feel like you're in this little fishbowl, just kind of bouncing around between the cliffs, and it got a little windy. So they actually kept postponing us. So we didn't think we were even going to get up retrograde, fun, right? They canceled, then they canceled again, and they canceled again. And finally we get a phone call at 5 o'clock. Nope, you guys can go up now. The wind has died down. And there was only one spot in between these two cliffs where the wind just kind of went, whoo, and you could see the wall, the cliff side. And you're like, that was a little too close. for comfort. He's like, oh no, that was no big deal. Like that was like a really light, gentle pushover. I'm like, that was light? Oh, I would not want your job. That would be, but it was so beautiful. And it was such a exhilarating feeling. And I thought I was going to be scared because I do have a little height thing. And there was like no jitters whatsoever. I think like the whole being told you can't, and nope, we're not going to be able to bring you up and you're not going to be able to do it. Like I was so bummed. And then when they said, yes, you can go, I'm like, yeah, okay, yes, we get to go. So it was so cool. So we had a great time. We had a great meal. I had to drive home way too late through the mountains, but I dealt with it and got home safe. So yesterday morning, I wake up, take my daughter to school, everything's fine. And I drop her off and all of a sudden my hands start swelling. My jaw starts swelling and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't swallow. And I'm sitting here like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what to do. So I'm end up having to cancel my schedule for the day, clear my schedule yesterday and go to the ER. And I'm sitting in the ER, like can't still having a hard time breathing. And they're like, have you been exposed to COVID? And I'm like, no, I have not been exposed to COVID. And they're like, are you sure? You know, have you been out of the country? Have you been this? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm swollen and I can't breathe. And I had taken an antihistamine before I left the house, but it was so strong. And they say, if your airways are blocked, go straight to the hospital. Like do not pass go. Don't F around when it's your breathing, right? And, you know, and I asked myself when I was going, like, do I really need to go? Like, this is probably really silly. I'm probably overthinking. And they're like, no, I should go just to be on air on the side of caution. But I was freaked out. I was totally freaked out. I mean, I get there, I'm shaking. My blood pressure, I think, was 160 over 90. Like, I was just like completely freaking out. And I remember, I mean, when they took my blood pressure, my whole right arm froze. I couldn't feel my fingertips. Like, it was total madness. And then, like, 45 minutes later, it was like nothing happened. And they're like, well, you're fine now. Time to go home. They didn't give me anything. They didn't treat me with anything. They just said, okay, here you go. And I'm leaving and I'm like, what was that all about? And I thought about today's topic. And I'm like, oh, wasn't that just so apropos the day before teaching on fear and, you know, feeling more free, that of course I'm sitting in the emergency room thinking I'm like, you know, having it like anaphylactic shock or something. And, you know, as soon as I walk in, they looked at my tongue. They're like, nope, you're fine. I'm like, why can't I breathe? We don't know. Let's see if the antihistamine does what it's supposed to do. And it did. So, you know, he's like, maybe you're allergic to the vortexes. The doctor, having no clue who I am, what I do. And he's like, maybe you have a vortex allergy. I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, I don't know, maybe. But, you know, still don't know if it was pollen or something in the air. I'm still a little swollen today, but at least I can talk and everything's okay. But yeah, it was totally crazy. And what was crazy in terms of the lesson is I felt guilty for going. Like, I don't have health insurance. Part of that is by design. I'd rather just pay cash if I need to. I mean, I go to the doctor like once every 2 or 3 years. So to pay 1,000 over a month to be insured just has never made sense. It's easier to just spend a couple $100 to do a checkup or whatever than to have actual insurance. But that was the whole hem hawing around, do I go? Do I not go? Do I stay? And just, you know, like, I don't need a big hospital bill for no reason. Like, this is really silly. And then I realized I felt guilty about going. Like, you know, I really felt this guilty for going and taking care of myself. Like, there's better ways to use this money. And I was like really I got really emotional about it when I got home yesterday. Like, I was really emotional about the whole thing. And I was looking, I'm like, why do I feel guilty about taking care of myself? Why do I feel guilty about listening to my body and making sure I'm okay? And right now, this retrograde, and I'm not an astrologer, but I do know this retrograde is in the sign of Gemini. And the sign of Gemini in this retrograde is all about this negative thinking and these old negative thinking patterns coming forward. mother issue. Well, I'm not sure if I understand, Cynthia. She says, isn't that a real woman mother issue? Explain what you mean. I do know this retrograde is in Gemini, which is this negative thinking. A lot of us do get our negative thinking patterns from moms, so that could be uh, women often feel like they shouldn't spend money on themselves. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the things that will justify spending money on, right? Like we can justify spending money on X, Y, and Z, but then when it comes to doing something to take care of ourselves, then it's like, oh no, I can't afford that, or oh no, that's too expensive, or oh no, I'd rather buy my kids this, or I'd rather do this with so and so. We will put ourselves and certain things on our healing path lower on the list than investing in our own health and our own well-being. So, here I am crying and I start tapping, right? And I just go ahead and start tapping. The stuff that's coming out, I'll leave the F bombs out because there was a lot of F bombs, but I'm tapping on the system. What kind of system do we have that I'm scared to go to the doctor? What kind of system do we have that it would be, all this money every year just so I wouldn't be stressed today going to the doctor. I hate the system. I hate insurance. I hate insurance companies. Like I was just, going through the list and I realized when I was done tapping and I took a deep breath in and I breathed in, spirit is the source of my supply. That's one of the mantras I use with my clients. A lot of what I use with, in classes and with my clients are things that I've worked with and used on myself for years, right? So, whatever modality I teach, I've pretty much received all of them. The quantum fiber optic cord, that's one of the ones that I channeled myself. So I have to listen to those on replay in order to receive, but pretty much all the modalities I've used at length. And, when I breathed in, spirit is the source of my supply and I am abundant and I'm an abundant being and I deserve to take care of myself. All of the guilt went away. It was like, I didn't feel bad about going and taking care of myself. I wasn't nervous about this potential big bill that I'll be getting in the mail. And they actually called me today and they said, it's really strange. We got your call about, cash patient discount and we can't find your bill. So if you get one in the mail in a week, great. Call us back. But if not, I guess they just let it go. And I'm like, oh my God, like here, all this worry and all this stress. And apparently they lost the fact that I was even there. And, it's like that divine comedy, I guess, that moment. And here going from that really high of being up in the helicopter and having this new experience to the next day, this low, oh my God, I'm dying, I can't breathe, to, oh my God, I'm gonna have this big bill. They forgot about the bill. Or right now it's non-existent and maybe it'll stay that way. But, it's that trusting process. We all get those jars of, that snapping, jarring, shock reality check every now and again, that crazy test result that came back weird and, oh God, we're going to need to do extra tests, or I was raised by a hypochondriac. So anytime anything ever went wrong, it was like, oh, she needs this test and she needs this test when I was a kid, right? I need this and I need that. And I know that's where some of the fear kind of comes from when it comes to any medical stuff for me is, growing up, knowing that if anything was wrong, like we had to do, MacGyver style detective work on it to, figure it out. And it was just so stressful, being in that energy all the time of extreme worry. Anybody else were raised by worriers, extreme worriers? Anybody else? Yeah. The other shoe's going to drop, something's going to go wrong, worst case scenario. Like even to this day, I can call my mom with good news about something. Guess what? blah, 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 blah. And she goes, well, this could happen and that could happen. And have you thought of this? And what if this happened? And just like, no, congratulations. No, oh, that's awesome. It's like, well, did you think of the 20 things that could make this go really, really wrong really quick? No, mom, I didn't. Thanks, though. But I've learned over the years not to let her truth be my truth, and to honor her truth, and to honor the fact that she might go into that worst case scenario spot, in that worry spot. But that's okay, mom. Like, I love you and I see you for who you are. And, I'm just not going to take on that fear as my own. And I think, for the topic today of breaking through the fear, it's to realize that pretty much all fears that we carry, we picked up from somewhere. Somewhere along the line, we picked that fear up. I mean, whether this is true or not, science says we're born with two fears: the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. And everything else is learned over the course of life. And, that getting back to that app analogy I used a couple of weeks ago, is that, by the age of 7, we've downloaded pretty much all the programs that we're going to use in life. And it's just a matter of deleting those. And then sometimes they get auto installed at night. And, then we've got to figure out, why did this delete? Why didn't this delete? And it's a mindset thing. It's like reminding ourselves when we really want to let something go, knowing that when it comes back up, not engaging with it anymore. Not letting it, like, accepting that it's there, but also calling it out as the illusion it is. And saying, oh, yeah, I cleared you already. You're just an illusion. See you later, bye. I love the analogy of phantom limb pain for this. We have these physical phantom limb pain phenomenon when somebody has an amputee and they can still feel the pain in that limb, that hand, or whatever that isn't there any longer. Well, that's clearly an illusion when they're feeling pain in it. They can say, okay, well, this is an illusion. That hand doesn't even exist anymore. This is an illusion. Goodbye, pain. And say bye to the pain. But the brain, the signals in the brain are still saying, oh no, there's pain there. Nope, 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 there's pain there. And we have that same phenomena that happens emotionally and with paradigms and patterns. Anxiety is a good example. Depression, worry, lack, all of these things, stress, doubt, fear, all of these things are on autopilot. And when they come up, being able to recognize it in the moment as that illusion. Oh yeah, I cleared you already. That's part of the illusion. I'm going to let this go. I see you. I honor you. I'm not kicking you out, but I'm not letting you be in charge either. And taking ownership of our experience. And that is such an important part of our healing journey, is taking ownership of the experience that we're having. And I'm sure you've all heard this, but it's worth repeating. When, like yesterday, when I'm on my way to the emergency room, freaking out, I can't breathe, in that moment, life was happening to me. That's just the way it is. When we're in that hyper reactive state, thinking there's something wrong, I'm thinking I'm on driving there. My husband's driving there, got my hand down, head down, and I'm just freaking out. He's like, breathe, honey, just calm down. In that moment, life was happening to me. I wasn't thinking right then and there, oh, how is this happening for me? I wonder if this has to do with the class tomorrow. I wonder that. No, I wasn't thinking any of that. I was just get me to the hospital, But, in those moments of hyper reactivity, life is happening to us. But when we take a step back and can reflect, okay, how did that happen for me? And how is this happening for me? And being able to make that shift. And with anything that's really uncomfortable, pain, loss, any of these really big, heavy things, when shit hits the fan, proverbially, and we're dealing with that really icky, sticky, heavy thing, in that moment, we're not asking, how is this happening for us? It's very much happening to us in that moment. And sorry, Lauren, for the potty talk. I didn't know there was a little one there. So, but it's like, how do we turn that? How do we pivot in the moment? When we're feeling the fear, when we're in that moment of reactivity, that fight, flight, freeze response, you know, how do we pivot? And remember, hey, guess what? That's the illusion. I'm truly free. Nothing, my soul is indestructible. My soul is indestructible. And be able to move into one foot in front of the other with a little bit more of a light step, a little bit more peace in our heart, a little more softness, knowing that whatever's going on, it's going to be okay. Right? And that's, I think, really, for me, one of the definitions of freedom is peace, is expansiveness, is, the days that I feel truly free, I wake up with a smile on my face. I go to sleep with a smile on my face. I see myself smiling throughout the day. I feel lightness in my step. I feel joy. I feel supported. I feel like I'm contributing. There's this beautiful back and forth dance with life. Yesterday wasn't one of those days, but that's okay. There's gonna be those days that are not, fairies and butterflies and rainbow wings, right? And that's okay. But it's like, to me, that unconditional feeling free is peace, right? And stepping into peace. So, um, Lauren says we're New Yorkers. She's heard much worse. I bet she has. So in today's email, if you happen to see it, I posed a question of so after receiving all this group healing that we've received over the last month, and most everybody has been receiving, although there still are some receiving blocks, and I've had to restart it for several people here and there, because again, it's this, I've got to do for everybody else. I've got to do for you, and I've got to do for you over here, and who am I to receive? And so when I check in on each of you and I can tell you're not receiving, and I check in, and pretty much across the board, everyone who's not receiving, it's like, oh, who am I to receive? Well, you're and it's subconscious, obviously, because you're in this program, you want to receive, or you wouldn't be here. But it's like our subconscious part of these patterns and no, I can't receive. Nope, not for me. Nope, that's for them over there, not for me. Right? So the first thing I want to clear for anyone here live and on the replay is it's not safe to receive. So some of this, won't be for you necessarily because you're receiving at 100%. But let's see, there's 25 live on the call. This applies to 8 of the 25 people here on the call, and then however others here on replay, right? So just any and all receiving blocks, any and all, it's not safe to receive. Receiving is for everybody else. I'm a giver. I'm a giver. I'm here to give. I'm not here to get. And the confusion between getting and receiving. Like when we get something, we're going to owe somebody something in return. And when we receive something, we're going to owe something. Letting that go. Uncreating, release, delete. What did it do? 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 What did almost. Okay, and there's some generational stuff here. So this is mom's stuff, mostly mother line. Any thought? Nope, all mother's line. So who said the mother's side? Here we go. Yeah, Cynthia. Yep, all mom's line. So just seeing all the grandmothers, and the grandmothers of the grandmothers and the great, 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 great grandmothers gathered here, right now, all of the ancestors from everyone in the group who are ready and open to receive the healing today. It's okay to be givers. It's also okay to be receivers. Safe to receive. And they all received. Okay, beautiful. So everyone that had those receiving blocks up, they are now clear. And now we're just going to reignite everything that's been sitting in your field waiting to come in from the remote healing container. That's all falling in. Everybody has now received at 100%. Yay, on live and on replay. Yay, amazing. Good, because when I checked in earlier today, I'm like, oh no, some more people fell out of the container. What's going on? Why are people jumping off the ship? And again, it's not a conscious thing. It's I'm a giver. I'm here to give. I'm not here to receive, right? And it's just this retraining, knowing that it is safe to receive, knowing that we're all safe to receive. I'm checking in, Cassie, with everyone. She asked, so we know that we are not the ones receiving. You're actually, you were fine this week, Cassie. You received okay earlier. Oh, there you are. Earlier, I'm all looking around. Where's Cassie? Earlier you weren't, but this week you did great. So you weren't one of the 8 today. And I mean, we don't need to call, go through the line. Okay, you didn't receive. Oh, no, you did. It's not, Lauren, you did get yours reactivated just now. Yeah. So, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong. This isn't a competition. This isn't, oh, yay, I get brownie points because I'm receiving. And oh, no, I did something wrong because I'm not. It's nothing like that. It's just the awareness, right? That it's so easy to close ourselves off without even noticing. Like yesterday, even for me, when I was on my way to go getting help, I had to stop myself and say, okay, team, what the heck's going on here? Can you please like help with some peace here? Like I'm gonna go and do and take care of, and I had to remind myself to receive from the team, because in that moment I had closed myself off. And as soon as I walked in the door, I realized that I had closed myself off from receiving. Okay, no. I'm going to sit here and receive. And I also sent love. As soon as I started receiving, I'm like, okay, everybody else who's here, they could receive too. And who knows, maybe that's part of the reason why I was there yesterday. I don't know, but it's just one of those things. So good. I'm glad the energy moved it up and out. Lauren said that she could feel that in the receiving block in the throat chakra. Yeah. Yeah. And, everyone who's in this room, I'm sure, feels stuff in their body, or you probably wouldn't be attracted to working with someone like me, is that you're, you feel things in your body and you want to feel good. Don't we all want to feel good? But know that the body is also communicating to us and letting us know what's going on through its messages and through its communications. Mary Barbara asks, I do have to ask if I'm one of them. You were. The disconnection feels at an all-time high. How do you feel after? I don't see your picture up here. So how do you feel after we just did that process? Did it lighten up? Does it feel the same? You are receiving now. So it just might need to, if you were feeling panicked and having some anxiety before the call, sometimes that adrenaline just needs to work its way out. Going to just send some extra softening energy for you now. See yourself receiving, just open up your hands and seeing a purple rose actually, and just see that yourself, your hands open in a cup and just see this beautiful purple rose dropping in your hand and bringing a softening energy. And just breathe that in a little bit, bringing the energy down, and just let that receive. And let me know after that, here in a couple minutes, Mary, if that's feeling better, but you are receiving now. Awesome. So on the email I sent today, I talked about, after doing all this remote healing and all this clearing, what's left? What fears are still lingering that don't feel like they have moved or shifted in the last month of healing work? And I asked, what's the biggest fear you're carrying today? Not yesterday, not a month ago, right here, right now. What is up for you? So if you would like to share and be the first hot seater today, go ahead and raise your hand either here on the screen where I can see you raise your hand. Okay, Lori's first. So Lori is first, and we didn't get to hear from you last time. So yay. Hi, Lori.
I waffled. I was very iffy last time. So I don't know about fear, but when you were talking about the mother line, that something flared up.
Okay.
And so I don't know where everything sort of fits, but I absolutely adore my mother. And my mother disappeared for 20 years. So she's had her own set of issues. So I was almost feeling a healing for her. And I'm sure I have a lot integrated into me as well with all of her beingness. I just feel she did the best she could with what she had. Um, but she is still alive. She's going to be 92 next week. And so I feel yeah, that just really struck me. And I do carry within myself a lot of, of loneliness from a childhood that was very, I was by myself a lot. Um, she was checking out kind of emotionally and mentally at that stage. And so I do feel a lot in my solar plexus and my throat chakra. And so I don't really have, the biggest word would come that I just remember that I've done a lot of work on it, and I don't feel that I have that much loneliness in me, but I know that there's a lot of something in my power center or yeah.
So when you say you didn't, when you first started talking, there wasn't a fear that was right there on the surface. And I will say that just from everything you just said, abandonment would be how I would name the fear.
Yeah.
Right. That it's not that mom's going to abandon you again, but eventually she will pass. And there is probably a little abandonment there that when she goes, okay, now I'm all alone again. And the inner child pieces that haven't been integrated yet. You've done a lot of inner child work. I can definitely feel that. The parts that haven't really fully released yet are those parts that are feeling lonely and abandoned in some way.
Yeah. I can see that in not so much with her, but in relationships like with my children or close family members, where I think I have found unexpectedly at times feeling left out or left off. And I don't really think in reality that's the case, but it's at odds with the feeling in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So first I'm going to start with inner children and just inviting all the inner kiddos here. We're going to have a big group. So this is encompassing everyone on the call here now, everyone who will be watching on replay, who's part of this package, and, you know, all of the unintegrated inner children. And I like to think of these as just our lost kids. So an adverse childhood experience happened and it gets broken off. This part goes into hiding and goes and climbs under the bed or in the closet or wherever it was a safe place, and it just stayed there. It didn't know it was safe to I mean it meaning he or she didn't know that it was safe to come out, and these parts fracture off. So one of my mentors that I worked with years ago in my inner child, when she and I first started working with inner child pieces, I think I had almost 400 unintegrated adverse childhood memories that just were never addressed or never looked at. And to go into each and every one of those 400 would take how long? you know I've been sitting in that session chair for like 30 years every week working on one, right? I mean, that's what it felt like, how heavy it felt. I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this, right? And what she did with me was we picked the top ones. So, one thing I like to think of, like, if, who here has had money blocks and abundance blocks over their life, right? So, and this usually all stems from inner childhood. So I'll ask, what's your first memory about money? Right? And that's a great one to ask, what's your first memory about money? And usually it's, well, I didn't get this, or I didn't get to get that, or it could have been a big one. My parents were evicted. You know, we couldn't, we were without a car because they got their car repoed. I mean, all sorts of things, right? It could be a whole plethora. Our house was foreclosed on. Big things like that. It could be little things. I was made fun of because I didn't wear Nike shoes. That was one for me when I was a kid. They bullied the heck out of me because my mom got tennis shoes at Payless shoe store and all the other kids shopped at Nordstrom, right? And they just incessantly made fun of me for that as a young kid. And that stuck with me, right? So all of these adverse childhood memories happen. So when mom was struggling, for you, Lori, a couple things happened. You on the one hand wanted to heal her, right? So there's a part, this wise sage in you, this wise medicine woman, which you are, you know, was like, oh, let me do this for mom. Oh, I can help mom with this, right? Oh, I can help her feel more present, and I can help bring her in her body. And you could probably see, even if you didn't know what you were seeing or intuiting, you could probably see very clearly for her, oh, it's just this simple thing. I can help with that. And and that kind of codependency loop started at a young age of, when I felt make mom feel good, then I feel good in return, right? So we're going to just start with sorry, I went on a little rant there, but um we're going to start with calling forward all the unintegrated inner children. Lori, you have how many unintegrated children? Let me grab them. Grabbing them. There we go. 135 left. You probably started at the beginning with 3 times that. So you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of work. Yeah. So as a group, I'm not gonna ask how many. Take too long. But we're just gonna, and so one of the ways I like thinking of this big group of kids, everyone here has a, we'll just say the average. What can I do the average for everyone? Please. Okay, yeah. The average is probably right around between 200 and 250 is the average for the group. So that's a big group of kids, right? And some of these kiddos are like in utero, right? So things happened, picking up on moms and dads' emotions and feelings when we were developing in the womb. And again, us empaths and sensitives and light workers and way showers, we know on a soul level, oh, I can take this and I can take that. Look at all the love Lauren's getting from the kiddos. Hi. No, I love it. The kids are coming out. No, it's good. It's a good thing. That we knew on a soul level how much work we were going to be able to get done here in this lifetime, from a generational perspective, from an ancestral perspective, from a past life perspective. 150 years ago, how many people were talking about, oh, I did a past life healing today, it was great? Nobody. Right? Everybody's worried about, getting water from the well. We weren't thinking about healing the last 2,000 years worth of unintegrated stuff. And so here in this timeline we're all in, oh, I just got goosebumps, I had to tell him that. When, here on this timeline for this, we're able to do all this stuff, right? So the way I like thinking about this for the big group of kids, the little in utero guys, you can see as little fairies, like just tiny little fairies, floating around. They're growing, right? Little babies, I like seeing being held by goddesses and angels of choice, or ascended masters of choice, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, just holding our little inner little ones that can't walk yet, and then all the others just walking. So I like to picture the kids. Let's just go into a process here, and we'll go through it that way. And just calling forward all the unintegrated child parts, and we'll just do for this lifetime, from the moment of conception till age 21. All actually, I'm hearing from age 25. That's when the frontal lobe is fully developed, right around 25. So from conception to age 25, all unintegrated inner child, inner young adult selves that broke off and went into hiding somewhere in the recesses of your conscious, unconscious, subconscious. Just calling all of them forward right here, right now, letting them know it's safe to come out of hiding. And as they're coming out of hiding, I want you to imagine a beautiful scene in nature. It could be a, massive, beautiful, gorgeous hill in the middle of the Alps, that opening scene in The Sound of Music. It could be a fairyland, like a fairy crystal palace for some of you. For others, I'm seeing a beautiful river in the forest with a little clearing next to the river. Others, I'm seeing a lagoon, like in the beautiful South Pacific, like something you'd see in Fiji or Thailand or Bali, the little waterfall next to the lagoon. I go to that. There's one that looks like that I go to all the time. But whatever this beautiful scene in nature is, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just let yourself and your imagination wander to what this beautiful scene in nature looks like for you. And we're going to invite the kids into this scene, your inner kids, into this scene, and just see them coming out of hiding wherever they are, and seeing them climbing out of, wow, the first one I saw for you, Lori, was climbing out of a, what are those storm drains underneath a road, the round things. I just popped the lid up, and this one that came up out of the storm drain. Oh yay! And she's running toward the water, right? Like, yay, I'm free. That was so cute. Like in the movie Newsies, or one of those types of movies. I can't remember which one, but just seeing the kids coming out of hiding. Some are climbing out of caves, out of attics, out of tree houses. And I'm just allowing whatever my mind is able to catch. There's a lot going on here. So running into this big, vast, open, grassy field, into the Crystal Palace, into the beautiful gardens, wherever they are, wherever you are holding space for them to come home to. Seeing them coming out of hiding. Floating into the space. Some are apparating, like in Harry Potter, just appearing. They were like in another dimension. It was great. Calling all parts of you back to you now from this lifetime, all parts, wherever they were hiding. Calling all parts back to you now. And seeing them playing in the water. I'm seeing some like running with their arms open to the sky, like, I'm free. Oh my gosh. And some are a little shy and not sure where they are or why they're here. And that's okay too. Like I said, for each person, the group is between 200 and 250 kids. So they're all having different experiences too. Some are extremely ecstatic and some are a bit confused. Some are feeling lonely and even looking at all the kids around them having fun, and they're like, well, this isn't fun. I'm still feeling not seen and not heard, and I want to go back into hiding. And again, honoring the energy, whatever it is. Beautiful. So everyone's gathered now into this space, and we are going to call forward the pristine inner child in you. You can imagine this as your higher self, but in child form. So that spark that knew everything was going to be okay, that spark that could see the possibility, that, we always talk about the inner wounded child. Well, the counterpart to that is this inner pristine child. So see your higher self. And I'm seeing this pristine inner child like blossoming out of a lotus. So there's water in pretty much everyone's vision here. Just see this muddy, lotus pod that grows in the mud, grows in the contrast. And see this lotus flower opening up. And in the center of this lotus flower, a version of you. Maybe it's your inner 6-year-old. Maybe it's your inner 3-year-old. Maybe it's your inner 9-year-old. In her or his authentic, pristine inner child, higher self form. Some of you have this image, and again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Just daydream with me. Allow the words I'm speaking to project up on a movie screen that you're watching in a movie theater. No right or wrong way to do this. Seeing this pristine inner child blossoming in front of you. There we go. Okay, so some are having some trouble. 90% of everyone watching live and on replay has it, but some of you don't see or can't feel or can't imagine or perceive that how can I have a pristine inner child? Let's just let that belief go. There we go. And now see this blossoming, beautiful child before you, representing the higher self, image version of you as a little one. And Lauren, maybe when you're watching on replay, you'll be able to tune into that. I think maybe it's just the energy in your space. You've got maybe stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah, just know, no, it's okay. Just know on replay that to tune into that part, to let that part just blossom in front of you. So everyone's got it now. And sending, it's like I'm seeing this pristine inner child sending a signal out from their heart to each and all of the unintegrated inner children that are gathered around right here, right now. Some feeling excellent, some feeling a little lonely and confused. And this heart wave from the higher self of the children, this heart wave going out to all of these unintegrated childhood parts, helping them in this here and now moment to remember who they are. That it's safe to come out of hiding for good. That they never have to go back to where they just came from. That they can choose freedom. And every single inner child here, right now, is choosing freedom. And whether you feel that in this here and now moment or not is okay. They are all choosing freedom. Every single one of them. And I like to send the unintegrated healing or unintegrated inner children to a healing retreat, a healing sanctuary, to help free up the wise adult self, because so often our triggers are coming from one of these parts. When something really bothers us, when something really jars us, when something really gets us and we're like in super reactivity, usually it's one of these little guys who's saying, hey, I'm here, pay attention to me. So by freeing them up and sending them on this kind of childhood retreat, what that does is it frees up our wise adult self. So we're not reacting to life from their eyes in hiding, that we are actually responding to life from the wisdom that we have garnered throughout our journey. here in this body, in this experience at this time, right? So Mother Mary has a beautiful healing garden. That works for most of you. If that doesn't work for you, well, you can do the Crystal Palace in Lumeria. That's a nice one. Let's see, does that work for, no, okay, so we need one more. So either Mother Mary's Garden, Lumerian Crystal Palace, or Arcturian, I'm feeling the strongest. So Arcturian Gardens, I'm just hearing Arcturian Gardens. So Crystal Palace Garden, Arcturian Garden, or Mother Mary's Healing Garden. And you will know, and if you don't, that's okay. Know that they're going to a very safe place just for children to be kids, to get to play, to get to be kids, to get to be supported, to get to be told all the things that they didn't get, weren't told when you were growing up, that they get to receive all these hundreds, and with this group, thousands and thousands of kids get to go to these like summer camps and get to receive everything that they needed, and that they can come back and forth between the this other realm and you whenever they want. They're not splitting off from you. It's a chance for them to go get the healing that they need. And is everybody on board? Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Okay. And they are all sending a unified message as a group that we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you for carrying us until this, and thank you for carrying us, for parenting us. We are our own best parent. And they're all saying thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for carrying us, because they are us and we are them. And just seeing them now being escorted to their retreat locations. Some are hanging around, that's okay. Some are like ready to go on retreat. Others are staying for a moment. That's okay. The ones that are staying are just feeling really low, honestly. They're feeling like, I don't want to go on retreat, or I don't want to go anywhere. We're going on the road trip to Disneyland. I don't want to go. And we're just sending the pristine inner child is going up to each and every one of those aspects, saying it's okay. You're safe. You're loved. It's safe to be happy. It's safe to be joyous. It's safe to be alive. It's safe to thrive. You deserve joy. You deserve peace. You deserve to feel loved and to know that you are loved. And the pristine inner child is handing each and every one of the reluctant inner selves a gift to remember who they are. Beautiful. And now they are all ready, yay, to join everyone else and receive. And they're going to be in this receiving container for as long as they need, is what I'm hearing. They can come back and forth as much as they want, but they can stay as long as they like. And they all know that they don't have to go back into hiding where they were. And just see them all floating up. And I want you each to see the last inner child left is the pristine inner child, the higher self, embodied in this inner child form. And I want you to imagine that this embodied spiritually high vibing, embodied, pristine inner child is turning into his or her fairy size self and flying into your heart now. You can do it, Kayla. There you go. Yes, there is this magical, mystical, timeless, ageless child in you right here, right now. Beautiful Oni, you got it. And Lori, you deserve to feel that magical spark in your heart. Let it land. All resistance, you can leave now. There you go. And everyone else felt it too. Beautiful. And just thanking the space, thanking the beautiful place in nature, thanking your higher selves for stepping forward for that process. That was really beautiful. Thank you, Lori, for initiating and catalyzing that. That was really awesome. So thank you. Thank you. How do you feel? Please unmute yourself.
Wow. That's an understated wow. I didn't know there was so much in there, but I felt it. And what to say? The last piece when you said landing, I felt this, a very soft snowflake falling on almost my solar plexus more than my heart, and then just melting, but becoming part of. So it had a integrating feeling of that. Um, I would from time to time pull my mother in so she would be receiving some of this. I see the ancestral stuff from her lineage. So
And she
yeah.
received, no, she received it 100%, everything that was here for her today to receive. And same with all the ancestors we called in a little bit before that. So
Yeah.
they, and it's so funny, I didn't even realize, I quit drinking coffee, but with this thing yesterday, I have been taking antihistamines and I was so drowsy. About an hour ago, I'm like, I need a cup of coffee. And I chose the cup with my twins on it.
Oh.
And I had no idea that we were gonna, that's when they were little itty bitties. They're 13 now. And but yeah, I just really when I drank, I'm like, oh, there's my little kinder, my little whippersnappers. So the energy was there, and I had no idea we were going to do that today. So I really appreciate you bringing that forward because that was really awesome. And it's so nice to be able to give our inner child, all of them, that healing in one moment instead of feeling like we have to go into each memory, which sometimes the deeper work has to happen and we do need to go into specific memories, but being able to give them all this very deep knowing that they are safe. So I bet right now everybody here, go ahead and say out loud, I am inherently safe.
I am inherently safe. Yeah.
And that is true for most of you. Who doesn't feel like that's true? Lori. Okay. She has her hand raised, so we'll go to you. Thank you so much, Lori. That was so beautiful. And yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing that forward. Okay, so Lauren, go ahead and unmute.
Hi.
Okay. So yeah, you're right that you don't feel inherently safe yet.
And the phone went off as soon as you unmuted me.
Oh, that's so
Remember conversation on the dings?
Yep. Yep. So 10:20. Go ahead and say that again, actually. I am inherently safe.
I am inherently safe.
Hold on. It's fluctuating. Say it again.
I am inherently safe.
Okay, why don't you want to be safe?
I do, but
Okay.
much like your events yesterday, sorry,
It's okay.
much like your events yesterday, I had events today that even though I know shouldn't affect me emotionally and I have to separate my journey from their journeys, I was, verbally attacked by my soon to be ex and a sister who doesn't understand what it means to let go and live in the now moment. And then again by a third person, which was unforeseen. And so I just feel that the more that I step into the truth of who I want to be, the more I feel attacked and pulled back by people who don't understand this journey yet.
Yeah. And again, kind of like what I said earlier, when we're in that moment of reactivity and this is happening to us, it's very hard to see it happening for you. But the beauty of all of this happening today is that it came up for you to be able to bring to this time to be witnessed by all these people who are sending you so much love right now, including me,
Thank you.
knowing that you're supported and knowing that you don't deserve to be mistreated. And you know that. That's why he's your ex, right? I have verbally abusive family. That's why I don't talk to them. I love them, but I don't talk to them because I drew that boundary.
That was a big word today.
Yeah,
That was a big word today, that I'm not doing anything to hurt you, but I am drawing boundaries. And
yeah,
you cannot take advantage of me
yeah.
or expect me to treat you with kindness or show up at my family events when I am asking you to treat me with compassion and the same respect I give you and not getting it back. And just, I
And
drew that boundary today.
good. And a couple things here. Remember to have compassion because people treat others how they feel inside. People project their, and I'm not saying this from a place of judgment or victimhood or anything like that, but many times and oftentimes people project their own inner junk onto the people around them because that's how they feel about themselves. And they're not going to go to the mirror and say all those things to the mirror. They don't know how to do that. Nobody ever taught them how to do that, to process whatever's going on inside of them that they don't know how to handle or deal with. It's much easier to hand that shit to somebody else. Here, you take it. I don't want it, and then they feel better. They have this momentary relief factor that comes in because they do that cut, right? And they get that momentary, relief, and then it gets worse. And then it gets worse. It's like the alcoholic who, wakes up and doesn't want to drink, but his head hurts so bad that he just wants that relief. So he wakes up and cracks open a beer first thing in the morning. So he doesn't have to deal with the headache. It happens in many ways and facets, right? But you're drawing that boundary. That doesn't what is unsafe? So here's a question for you. What is unsafe about drawing boundaries?
Seeing it so many times today in different ways made me question whether I was doing the right thing or not, or whether I was saying the right thing or not, or whether I was acting in the right way or not. So it wasn't the boundary, I guess, it was the self-doubt
Mhm.
that just kept coming up that if this person is doing this, and my own sister, even though I can rationally understand that she's coming from a sense of lack and unhealed hurt, you know, especially childhood hurt, and him, I can understand where he's coming from rationally, but then somewhere in my energy body, I took it all in instead of protecting myself. So I guess I didn't have that energetic boundary.
Okay. Trying to reword the same question in a different way. What is the worst thing that could happen by you drawing this boundary?
Both of them will fall out of my life. Where judgments would be passed on me and I would be judged.
So the worst, so it's not them falling out of your life that scares you, it's being judged because they fell out of your life.
Yes, I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
So
it's different for my sister versus my ex, but
sure. Who would be judging you?
they would, and the people associated with them would be.
Okay. Why are their opinions more important than yours?
Self-doubt and lack of self-worth.
Well,
which I'm still working on.
okay, but again, why are their opinions more? That's what kind of when I opened today, where we are in the driver's seat of our life. I didn't say it like that, but by making other people's thoughts, opinions, ideals more important than our own, yes, we are discounting ourselves. Yes, we are doubting ourselves. Yes, we are carrying that badge of I'm unworthy, right? So what?
And I said it to him that no one else's opinion matters. It's not my business what other people think of me.
Yeah.
And I said that.
Good.
I did draw that line because he was trying to use other people to hurt me today.
Yeah. So let's come back to you. Come back to you in this. It's all right. Come back to you in this here and now moment. What is unsafe? So the unsafety part is the judgment part, right? So if you can separate the two, right? If you could not see judgment and safety in the same car driving together, which is kind of where I'm feeling the entanglement is happening, right? That safety and judgment are hanging out in the same car, right? To where your safety car is over here that you're in the safe car, your car, right? And everybody else is in their cars. And everyone else in their cars has their own judgments in it, has their own stuff in it, right? But you can separate yourself from the other cars instead of trying to drive your own car and then having your hand over in this person's car trying to steer over there and having your hand in that car trying to steer over there, which is what we're trying to do when we're trying to control how other people think about us. We can only control what's under our hands, right here in our heart. That's all we can control. How we feel, how we think, how we respond to life. So when I ask you what's the worst thing that could happen if they fall out of your life, okay, I'll be judged. Well, what's the worst thing that could happen by being judged?
I guess nothing.
There you go. But it doesn't feel like that at the time. At the time, it feels like the worst possible case scenario ever. It really does. You know, and I also, you know, have one of my life lessons has been letting go of what other people think. And one of the hardest, you know, lessons to learn, because I defined myself so much based on the thoughts, ideas, opinions of others, that by letting go of what they thought of me, I was letting go of what I thought of me. And so I was really confused then. Who am I? And no one really I shouldn't say no one, but that comfortable, that question in and of itself, it can be so uncomfortable. Who am I? If my definition is based on what you think and what you think and what you think, and I don't know who I really am because I've only ever identified myself through the eyes of other people, that's kind of the root of codependency. Who am I when I take those codependent lenses off my eyes? Who am I really? And then we have to figure that out. So a lot of times we hold on to these things of unworthiness and self-doubt and self-deprecation and all this stuff to keep ourselves safe, because unsafety feels safe.
Please quiet down, you two.
Because unsafety feels safe, right? Our brain is trained, has been trained to feel safe being unsafe. One of my, so I have like playlists, right, that I play when I'm like need to cry or need to be mad or or need to get emotions out. And one of my playlists, not anymore currently, but in the past, was some Tori Amos songs, if you know who Tori Amos is.
Of course.
And she has a song, I found the secret to life. I'm okay when everything is not okay. You know, and that speaks so much to this. I'm okay when everything is unsafe. I'm okay when everything is dramatic. I'm okay when everything's falling apart. I'm okay when there's chaos. When it's all calm and peaceful and safe, I'm not okay. So the first question I asked you, why don't you want to be safe? What would your answer be now after having that discussion?
Because it's what I'm used to.
Exactly. And that's it. And that's all it is. And it's that retraining. Hey, wait, that's the illusion over there, that I'm unsafe. The truth is I'm inherently safe. So go ahead and say that now. I am inherently safe.
I am inherently safe.
Does it feel true? Win. Big win.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Just going to let the energy kind of soften, reset, recalibrate. Oh boy, a lot of messages here that I didn't see yet. Okay, where was I? Okay. And Marie, do you have your hand up? If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself. We'll go to you next. You're welcome, Lauren. All right, Marie in London, are you here? Did you want to unmute, love?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry, I didn't know you meant me.
Oh, that's okay. I see. I don't even know if you're in London. I think you said you
I
were.
am, yes.
I read that right earlier then. So,
Yeah.
did you feel like any of the fears that you were talking about, you said that your fears are subconscious and you don't know what fears you have. Did anything
Yeah.
that we do bring up between the inner child piece?
The inner child, I actually was in tears. So,
Okay.
but not consciously, again, as I said, knowing what that relates to, but I felt it in the pit of my stomach and it was trying to come out to release.
Okay.
Yeah, and Lauren's thing about judgment, what other people think of you. Just kind of feel emotion coming up now thinking of it, is just I think parents, judgment from my parents. I don't know why exactly.
Yes.
Maybe just the feeling of not good enough, or maybe it's not from them, it's just myself.
No,
Not how.
definite fear of parents' judgment. There's more. So the top subconscious fear right now isn't judgment for you. It is subconscious. What else came up though when we were when you hold on, give me 1 second. There's a fear of bringing it conscious.
Right.
Right? There's a fear of it's like the shadow part that doesn't want to see its shadow. Okay. And the shadow work can be so tricky sometimes because we have to shine the light on the parts of ourselves that we would rather remain hidden.
Mhm.
You know, we'd rather keep that part separate.
It doesn't really help me know what that is though.
No, I'm not saying that it is, but we're gonna
Okay.
dive into it here. But it's that what are you afraid to look at? What are you wanting to avoid? What part of you are you denying? And that's the pit of the stomach that you're feeling. It's that part of you that you're rejecting. And I'm just scanning here. Give me a moment. I'm seeing if I can grab it for you. What do you think your weakest quality is?
Not good enough.
There you go. And why do you not want to look at that part that doesn't feel that they're good enough?
Because I won't be loved. I don't know.
Because why?
I won't be loved. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answers here. You're doing great. You're doing great. Thank you for vulnerability. Right? Thank you for being willing to do this very important shadow work with, a group of strangers, really. That takes courage, and it also shows your commitment to looking at the, seeing the things that we want to keep unseen, right? It's like when we have company over and we're taking all the clutter and all the stuff and just shoving it in drawers, shoving it in the cupboard, like, no, they can't see this, right? And we don't want to show the world the part that doesn't feel like they're good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But not only do we not want to show the world that part, we don't want to see it ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? So, do you have a memory of the first time you didn't feel good enough?
I suppose being a child and not being able to have a voice.
So what did that look
My
like?
voice didn't matter.
Yeah,
Be quiet, and I was spoken over. When anyone would speak to me or ask me a question, it would be my parent. Well, no, my mother. That would always speak over me. I wasn't allowed to speak for myself, so it felt. So I've never really had that.
Go ahead.
Felt very confident, although most people wouldn't believe that, but in myself, I'm not.
And is there any specific memory that you can grab onto of when you felt that kind of, power over situation? Is there any specific memory where that comes up really strong of not having a voice, not feeling good enough? Yeah, no right or wrong here. It is nice though to be able to grab
Yeah,
a specific memory.
it probably is. I just can't think of it right now.
Well, you wrote in here that your family was always broke.
Yeah, they
So sometimes when you're not good enough, that feeling will come up in a monetary way, like, I really want this thing. No, you can't have that. Do you have a memory of that?
when I was even at school, all the kids, when we would go to kids' houses for parties and things like that, they always had nice, lovely houses. And I suppose I didn't have that many friends at the primary school. They were, might call them rich kids. and I felt that I wasn't. Well, I didn't really feel that at the time, but it was kind of an embarrassment to go to my own home because we lived in a flat as opposed to a nice plush house.
Perfect. Okay.
And my parents were always arguing about money and things could get very heated between them.
Okay. So first of all, you see how money's not safe, right? Money, volatility around you. Money is for everyone else. It's not for me. Because if it was for me, then I would have it. Right? I'm not good enough because I didn't have those things. I didn't have the nice house. I didn't have the parents who got along.
Of course.
Things were going good.
Okay.
So I want you to imagine. Hold on, let me ask how they want me to do this. Give me 1 second. About what age were you? What birthday party, what age did you turn, if you can remember what age you were when you really wanted to have a nice birthday party and you couldn't?
Maybe around 6, 7.
Okay. The 10-year-old as well. Yeah, I'm feeling the 10th birthday strongest. So we're going to do the 10th.
Okay.
The 6 and the 7-year-old, it wasn't as life shattering.
No.
Like the 10-year-old was really upset. Like like that inner 10-year-old, I'm feeling the strongest here. Like, oh, like this is not cool. Where the 6 and 7-year-old were a little bit more easygoing. Okay, it's okay. It just wasn't for me. Much more easygoing than the 10-year-old who felt very like cheated almost out of.
That's interesting that I can't really remember what I felt like when I was 10. I must have written that off in my head.
And again, with me having, close to 400 of the unintegrated little kiddos, I mean, I don't remember over half of my childhood. My best friend just came and visited. We've known each other since first grade. We fell out of touch for over 20 years. And she ended up becoming my first client when I started this healing practice 3 years ago. I was going live on Facebook and she caught one of my Facebook lives. We hadn't been in touch for over 20 years. Tanya, I really need your help. Can you help me? And she had no idea she was my first client at the time. But she came and visited me for our birthday this past month. And the stuff she remembered, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, how do you remember this stuff? And she's like, oh, well, this and that. I mean, she knows my childhood better than I do. This is insane. But, you know, we block a lot of these things out because it was uncomfortable.
Mm.
Just like we don't want to show the world or ourselves that we're not good enough, or the crap laying out on the counter that we, you know, put away when somebody comes over. You know, we create these blank moments in our memories because we don't want to look at it. It's painful, it's ugly,
Sure.
it's crappy,
Mm.
right? So we're going to invite your inner 10-year-old to come forward. She's going to have to take a break from her retreat. And I want you to imagine her in, and anyone else, if you have an age, you know, go ahead and do this process for yourself. And if there's a particular age of your inner child that comes to you, great. If not, 6 years old is always a great one to choose. So if you don't know what age, just imagine your inner 6-year-old. For you, Marie, we're going to use your 10-year-old. So I want you to imagine your 10-year-old sitting at your kitchen table at that age. So go back into your childhood home. And for those of you where that childhood home might feel really painful, are you okay there? Yep, you're going to be totally okay there. And just notice, even after that inner child healing, how different it might feel going into that space right here, right now, as even if you were to imagine yourself in that space yesterday. Like, it feels really neutral. Does it feel neutral for everyone? Yes, it'll feel neutral for everyone, which is great. So just imagine yourself in that childhood home, sitting at your kitchen table. Notice for you, Marie, that you can feel the lack in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, there's not enough food in the fridge. You can't just go help yourself to whatever you want.
Mm.
You have to ask for a snack, and half the time you're told no. It wasn't, you couldn't express your hunger. And that ended up translating into hunger for life, hunger for love, hunger for being seen. And all she wants is a peach, and she can't have it. But see these as magical tears falling. No right or wrong way to do this. But feel that feeling that she is in of just, I'm not good enough. If I was good enough, I'd be able to eat that peach. If I was good enough, I'd be able to have that party. If I was good enough, I'd be okay. Making the circumstances of your life at that time about you. Kids are great at that. It's all about me. Just let these magical tears fall. Know that you've been holding on to these stuck tears for a very long time, and that they're finally ready to be released and let go of, finally, after all this time, ever since you were 10. Beautiful. Now, hold on. Just everyone else listening live or replay, just tuning in and what's going on with your inner little one. Sitting at the kitchen table, maybe it's a completely different scene. Maybe you're feeling overflowing gratitude right now, like, oh gosh, we had a whole bowl of peaches and I could have eaten all of them. Maybe it was, whatever it was, there's no right or wrong way. And now I want you to imagine you in this here and now moment, going back in time, walking down your childhood street, walking into your front door, whether that's the front door of a house or a flat or an apartment or whatever your front door looked like. The house is empty except for your inner little one sitting at the kitchen table. I want you to just walk in the door as the you, here and now you walking in that door and going and finding your inner child hanging out at the table. And Marie, do you have her? Are you sitting with
Yeah,
her? Okay.
I am.
So just go ahead and introduce yourself. Hey, you. We made it. I'm proof. I am living, breathing proof that you survived this experience at this kitchen table and all the experiences at this kitchen table. You made it. And I'm here to not only introduce myself to you, but to also say, I'm sorry it took me so long to find you and to have this conversation. But I'm here now. Thank you for meeting with me. And I want you to communicate to her, Marie. I know you don't feel good enough. I know you feel unworthy. But that is the farthest thing from the truth. And let me know when you've communicated that to her.
I have.
Let her know that mom and dad have their own, trying to think in 10-year-old language here, that mom and dad have their own unique path too. And that she isn't responsible for mom and dad's choices. And let me know when you've communicated that.
Yes.
Let her know that what mom and dad do or say is not a reflection of her, and that they're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
Let her know that she's going to get through this and grow up to be an amazing human being, filled with love in her heart and drive and determination and resilience and compassion. You are all those things, correct?
Yes.
Yes, you are. And just for anyone else here, just take a moment and Marie, tune into your 10-year-old here. Is there anything that she wants to tell you? Is there any message here for you from her? Is there anything that she needs to express that she hasn't had
Thank you for coming back for me.
Aw. And just tell her you are so welcome. Thank you for allowing me to come here, and thank you for showing up to do this with me. Let her know that it's totally mutually beneficial. That as you're helping her, she's helping you. And now I want you to imagine that you're handing her a magic wand and that she gets to redecorate. She gets to fill up the refrigerator and the cupboards. She gets to bring in new furniture. She gets to redecorate her bedroom. She gets to redo the landscaping in the backyard. Give her this magic wand and tell her to create the home that she always wanted. And let me know when you've done that, or when she's done that.
She's got it.
Now ask her to tell her that all of her friends are coming over for her 10th birthday. And see the house filling up with young whippersnappers running around, and that they all get gift bags. And there's prizes, that everyone feels included, that everyone's having fun. She gets the most amazing birthday cake that everybody's enjoying. And I want you to imagine her blowing out a 3-tiered cake filled with candles, and that she's blowing all the candles out and making a wish. And I want you to make that wish. And let me know when you're done blowing the candles out.
Done.
And just see her filled up with gratitude, and see mom and dad smiling, see the ease on their face and the pride that they have, that, oh my God, we were able to throw our little girl the most amazing party ever. See their relief that they're not worried about the food in the fridge or on the shelves, that they get to tell you, guess what? We're going shopping for your birthday and we're going to get you all new clothes. There we go. And just remember, the brain doesn't know the difference of what happened then and what just happened now. That is the amazing power of our mind and our heart coming together to heal.
Ooh, I can feel that energetically.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's the new memory. That's the new reality that your brain has, that your cupboards were overflowing, that your parents had peace around money, that you had a beautiful birthday party filled with your friends.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And your 10-year-old's heading back to retreat land.
With a spring in her step.
Heading back to retreat land. And it's also knowing that we have so much more control and power to self-heal than we could ever possibly imagine. The resistance is that we're not powerful, that we can't do it, that we, need a million, healers on our side, to make it happen. And I'm not discounting that, what I do for a living or any other healer. I need support just like everybody else does. I have always had support people in my corner, but the biggest lessons that I learned with all my healing journey was that my answers were inside. And when I looked for those answers outside, oh, this person can help me, and that person should be able to help me, and this person's going to be able to help me break through this, and putting my own power in somebody else's hands, it never worked out.
Yeah.
It always fell flat because I wasn't owning my ability to heal and saying and calling somebody into my space to help me. Hey, I know I need to heal this. Can you help me with this? I just need some support with that. Right.
Yeah, sure.
And that's, I think, one of the areas that people get stuck is giving their power away to somebody else to fix something for them, instead of saying, hey, I'm not broken, I don't need fixing, but I really want to feel better, or I really want to transform, or I really want to shift this thing.
Hmm.
Where's my blind spots? What am I not seeing? And that's why I loved your question. What's the unconscious fear that I'm working with that I can't see? I know there's a pit in my stomach, but what's there?
Yeah.
Right?
I definitely feel like a lot of has released and shifted now, very much lighter. I have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am more than good enough. Go ahead and say that.
I am more than good enough.
And you can feel that. I know you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm 10 years younger as well at the same
Oh,
time.
good. No, that's amazing. And and how long did that take? It doesn't have to take years or decades to shift something really big really quickly when we're finally ready to let it go.
Yeah.
I had a session earlier today, and it comes up in sessions often. Universe, I am done with fill in the blank. I'm done with this pit in my stomach. I'm done with feeling broke. And for me yesterday, I'm done feeling guilty for spending money on taking care of myself by going into the emergency room when I can't breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost didn't go because I'm like, I don't want to, and that was the old programming. That was the old tape coming up saying, no, you don't deserve that. And I caught myself. I'm like, no, I'm going to go get some help. That's the right,
Dreadful how that happens.
but it was so much of it was a remembering of what that felt like to fall into that reactivity pattern of lack and not good enough, and I'm not worthy to go get help. Who am I? Saying, what am I saying? What am I thinking? Yeah, I'm going to go get help. Come on. But it sometimes that trap of not good enough sneaks in the most quirky of places.
Mm,
Right?
definitely.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming forward and
Thank
bringing that
you.
forward for everyone. Absolutely.
And all the group as well. They're amazing.
Yes, it is a very power-packed group of amazing beings we have here. Every single one of you here is a light in the world, whether you realize it or not. It's your
Love the blessings.
public service announcement for the day. You are amazing. Let's see. Dana asks, please let me know if you have an imbalance of owning your power. Yes, and I think you knew that just by asking the question. If you didn't feel like you had an imbalance, I don't think the question would have come forward. If I were to look at your archetype here, masculine, feminine. Okay, so the divine feminine is embodied 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 91 to 3%. You're in the flow, you know how to go into the flow, you know how to do the feeling, right? Your divine masculine is at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. So it's and for the divine masculine, so both are not bad, right? It's not like I think one thing that I'm hearing right away for you is to give yourself more credit, to see yourself as being exactly where you're meant to be right now, and you haven't missed anything, and you're not too late, and you haven't done anything wrong. And to build up that divine masculine is to let the feminine lead. So it's building that feminine up to make the decisions and to let that divine masculine come in and support those decisions with aligned action and knowing that you can't get it wrong. Like, even if we take a path that we don't really like, okay, learn something, pivot. And not to judge yourself when you have to pivot. But really the indecision, I'm feeling indecision, like you having a hard time making decisions. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Should I do this? Should I do that? Just make a decision. Doesn't matter. You can't get it wrong. So it's really the fear. What I'm feeling is one of your bigger fears is I'm going to get it wrong. I'm not going to get it right. And what if you couldn't get it wrong and could only get it right? Because again, there's no such thing as bad and good, only good and excellent. Because if you go down a path you don't like, that feels bad, that feels icky, that feels you can always pivot and learn something and turn that bad thing into something good. So let me know if that helps. Okay, so we have time for, I think, one more caller today, or one more community member caller. So if you no longer want to be called on because your question answered, you can lower your hand if that feels good. If what you needed. Diana, I don't think you got to talk last time either, did you? So go ahead and unmute. Yeah, Diana. Oh, I'll help. Hold on. I'll just press that button. There you go.
That is?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Yes, so yes, so this is a bit scary to speak, even though, you know, in the real world I could speak.
Before you start, just take a nice deep breath. I'm in my body now.
Okay.
I'm in my room now. I'm in this time now.
Okay.
Hi, puppy. I am here. I am now. Yes, you're saying hi.
Yes, he's gone past his walk time because it's, you know, it's morning here, and he's just woken up. He slept in, but luckily, he's just woken up and he wants to go for his walk. Anyway, never mind.
Like to bring him in so he feels included?
No, he's just gone out. I left it open so he could get out, and he's just out there complaining. He'll stop in a minute. Yes, if he doesn't, I'll have to call him in. Yeah. So, yes, that was really interesting about the party. I was just imagining all the parties I created for my daughter with all those things of the prizes and the inclusion, and you know, that's a big thing. And it made me think about, you know, because I run a big group at the moment, and my big thing is inclusion and stressing over that. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. But it's interesting to, I hadn't drawn that parallel before, that wish of inclusion. And I had a big thing yesterday where I dropped into a very big depression, triggered because I couldn't get through on something on the internet. I thought, that's ridiculous to go into such a big depression. And then when I worked it through and realized it's another sort of, you know, exclusion thing, you know, because childhood, total exclusion. And I realized that whenever I've got to make a big decision about someone in the group, I drop into very deep depressions. And I thought, oh, it's probably I'm dropping into that black space, but that's not what I should talk about. Well, one of my big dilemmas is my name. I have a real paranoia. I mean, just to see it there on the screen is really hard. And if I ever do anything, I try and get rid of half of it at least. It's you know, like I put on shows, I put on plays, and I put everyone else's name on the program. And even though I've done everything, I don't put my own name on. Yeah, so it's just this some sort of thing about my name is really.
You know who chose it? You know if your mom or your dad chose your name?
No, they didn't choose it. They couldn't work out a name. So my aunt's, her best friend, chose the name Diane, which I've always hated. I did modify it to Diana to cope. But yes, no, they didn't choose a name. I was nameless, and I never called them anything either. I never said mom, mummy, mother, father. I've never used those words in
Wow.
relation to my parents. They did. I called them a nickname. I think they had nicknames, which I didn't call to them. You know, I didn't ever call my parents anything.
I'm going to highlight something you just said. I am nameless.
Yeah.
And that is such a that just like reverberated in my ears when you said it, because if that's the belief that you're running, I am nameless, of course you're rejecting your name or names given, because that finding out that you were nameless, finding out that they couldn't choose a name, that your aunt chose a name, whenever you found that out, it caused that split. And I don't know, you know, obviously you don't probably remember what age you found that out, but that
No,
you,
I don't remember that. I think it's sort of also attached to the name is a feeling of being unclean, like which I'm assuming is attached to total sort of almost total rejection all through childhood by peers and everybody. Like everybody, I always felt like
no,
uh,
I don't feel a rejection as much of as an invisibility. Like
disability.
the
Yeah,
nameless,
yeah,
it's like
totally. Yeah,
the nameless, the feeling invisible, the I
yeah.
don't exist is what I feel stronger in terms of a belief than resent or rejection. I don't exist. I'm invisible. I am nameless. I am that whom has no name. And this is totally past life. This got reignited at a young age, but it is an old, I think even I'm actually hearing one life, you had no name. Honest, like you actually had a life where you had no name. They just said she or whatever, you know, you may have even been called it, because you had no name. And that the shame of that you have carried multiple lifetimes. Let me see how, give me a moment here. Let me see how far back this goes. I have no identity. I shouldn't exist. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive. I'm nothing. Different planet. So that didn't happen. That one particular life, the no name, didn't happen here. But it was over 100 lifetimes ago. Holy moly. 173 lifetimes ago.
173.
Long time ago. And what's crazy about that, and from the research I've done and talking with other practitioners over the years, is most of the stuff we're releasing and working on in this lifetime is from like the last 20 to 30 lifetimes. Like we usually have sorted that kind of stuff out by now. So this thing, you haven't participated in all of those lives. Like it's just been this lingering thing that has hung around during this time, you know. So sometimes it doesn't bother you at all in the lifetime and you work on something totally different, but that one particular lifetime of either being called it or that thing, I'm hearing these like ridiculing names, There may have been a birth defect, there may have been something wrong with you, and so you may have been abandoned at birth. I think that's, yeah, I'm feeling an abandonment at birth, and like basically been, was taken care of by charity, but they just never named you. Wild. And you never know what you're going to see when you go into different it's just the wildest things. I was a robot in a former lifetime. I had a past life reading and I was an embodied robot, and like wasn't biological at all, but like AI, consciousness in a robot. And that's why I like totally reject like a lot of the AI stuff, and I didn't know it. But yeah, she's like, well, this is interesting. You were a robot. And as soon as she said it, I could see it, and it was so weird. It totally creeped me out. So you never know what you might find when you pop open the hood and look at some of the past life stuff. It's really fascinating. And, our experience here on the planet is so compartmentalized over what we can see and touch and smell and experience. Like, to think that, other things in other worlds, what has happened to us is just like way on, in left field a lot of times. So, and do we have a session coming up?
No.
No, okay. Okay, so that part's ready to heal. So just like we did just now with the birthday party and the, transforming that lifetime, I want to invite the same healing into that version of you so long ago. And that aspect of you can transform that lifetime, who you were in that lifetime. She would have named herself Josephine. I just heard.
Oh.
So she is giving herself the name Josephine. And just asking for any and all integrated parts from that lifetime to go to the light, to be transmuted into pristine love, light, truth, trust, peace, hope, joy, owning yourself, owning your identity, owning who you were in that lifetime, naming yourself, giving yourself the most aligned name. That's the name that came forward for me. Maybe it's different, but that was what I heard. And melting away the illusion of separation. Beautiful. And now seeing the healing passing up from that lifetime up the line. So if you could see, all these aspects of yourself from that lifetime, so 170 something different versions of you, that this healing is then getting passed up to each person like passing forward a baton, right? And that as that baton goes up the line, that it's healing that aspect of separation from that time all the way until now. Okay, there's one part that doesn't want to take it. It's like, nope, I'm going to be stuck. Nope, we're not going to let that fly. It's safe to take it. There we go. And now passing it up there. Okay. Yep. It's going. There we go. And now the previous version of you, feeling yourself taking this healing into your heart. So just see yourself receiving this healing of your identity, your relationship to identity, your relationship to owning your authentic sovereignty as being a being of light in a body, owning that body, knowing and claiming that body as your own, and that is safe to do. Bring that into your heart. Breathe that in, take a nice deep breath in. Hold at the top. Let that go. Is Jeffrey your birth name?
Yes.
And what is your middle name? Do you have a middle name? Okay. Go ahead and say, I am Diana Jeffrey.
I am Diana Jeffrey.
And look at your name. How does that look now? As opposed to when we started, when you look at it and you see it. Is there any charge?
I think it's okay. Yeah, I think
Where's the hesitation? Is that it's new and
I'm
it's
so
weird? Or what's that?
I'm so used to feeling like it's not exactly mine, I suppose, because it isn't exactly mine in a way, because it was manufactured, I guess. And so I sort of,
Well, and remember, that's a thought that you've been telling yourself
yes,
over and
right,
over and
yeah,
over again, that
yeah.
it's manufactured,
I-
where your higher self may have whispered into your aunt's ear, I am Diana, or and then maybe she heard Diane.
yes,
So
I think it was, it was a well-known song at the time, that she liked.
feels, and if it don't resonate with the name at all, and you want to name yourself something else, you have that right to do that at some
Yes, right. I think I have thought of that, and I always thought, I was thinking of doing that, and I went once to a numerologist and consulted about that, and actually the numerologist said that it was just all too hard to read my thing. It was just too difficult. But the one thing they came up was, if I did change it, I could simplify my life. My name carried just so much complication. But I thought, I'll just keep it and keep, I'll just work with all that and not simplify it. It's going to sort of simplify it too, because my father had wanted to call me a really, really handful. He had an idea. He wanted to call me Jemima Allardyce Hogarth Jeffrey. That's what he wanted to call me. But my mother, because he wanted to bring all his family names in, and my mother wouldn't have it.
we are not our
So
name.
there we are.
Yeah.
We're not our names. That's right. And I have in the past, if someone gave me, as I moved through life, at one stage, some people gave me a name from a character I played in a play, and they called me that for years, and I was quite happy with that. It was a ridiculous name. It was Mrs. O. I mean, I was happy. I was happy as Larry, because Mrs. O, it was short for the name of the character. I was happy, but yeah.
Yeah, my girl's godmother, she's never liked her name. And my girls couldn't say her name. It was hard for them to say it. So they called her Boobus. And she goes by Boobus today.
She likes it.
She loves it. She loves it because they gave her that name and she took it and ran with it. And now, when when somebody calls her her actual name, she's like, that's not my name. My name is Boobus, and it's so much, again, about being able to choose the identity that we see ourselves as, and giving yourself permission to change your name if you want to, or fully accept the name that you have and love it as it is, and not feel like it was a nameless thing that it's just part of you stepping into your identity. And just think of being in the acting world and in plays and that kind of thing. Look at, the parallel there in terms of all the character names and all of the different roles that you've played or that you've watched or you've developed or you've, it's a whole fantasy world that you've surrounded yourself in. So there might be a part that identified with being nameless as the masked character,
Oh, totally,
Yeah.
totally. It's totally a thing. I guess it's going to be a thing of getting used to being actually existing, because when I was younger, I used to say over, I don't exist, I don't exist. And, like when you go for help to psychiatrist, I don't exist. There's no reality. And they'd say, maybe you need glasses. You can't see reality. Anyway, stupid old thing. But I had a thing that I didn't exist, So I guess and loving to have play characters, because then you have an existence as another person. And that's been my saving, really, and being able to speak through another character's mouth, not being able to speak also, but I've gradually learned how to do that and speaking through.
Being comfortable on stage, being comfortable playing that role and playing that part and feeling comfortable in owning that other character versus owning the identity that you are here and now and really fully embodying and that. So I am in my body now, I am in this room now, I am in this time now. Go ahead and say those out loud. I am in my body now.
I'm in my body now.
Okay.
I am in this room now. I am in this time now.
Okay. So the first one you've got, the second two not quite yet. So the more you come into your skin, into your spacesuit, and seeing it as the spacesuit that you are connected with in order to express and experience the life that you came here to live, that you are in tandem team with this physical body, having this physical experience in this physical personality, owning that, allowing yourself to merge with that part and not see it as, ew, I have this icky human body. There's this like that unclean thing that I don't know if you said it or somebody else said that rejecting the body, seeing being human is a bad thing, especially as starseeds. Like, what is this thing? We're used to being sometimes really big. I mean, I have dreams where I'm this 50-foot tall being, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm back in my, this is the size I'm supposed to be. What is this ant thing down there? I mean, but there's these judgments that we have being multidimensional beings that understand more of these multidimensional concepts that maybe, are parents never, if I were to say that to my mom, she'd be like, oh dear God, just, can you get back on the planet, please, my dear? No, well, yes and no. Like, I'm very grateful that I have had these very interesting experiences. Did they confuse me at times? Sure. But it's about owning and being comfortable with our spacesuits and like saying, yes, I'm so glad I chose this spacesuit. Right. And part of the namelessness was a way for you to reject your spacesuit, honestly, is what I'm seeing with this. And then as you heal that relationship with this being your spacesuit and embodying that, no matter what your name is, doesn't matter, that and you step into this role that you came to play, there's your freedom. Not having to experience freedom through the eyes of that character or this character or that part or this part, that you can experience freedom in this part that you've been playing every second of your life. And when I was doing the clearing, the I don't exist, I mean, that's all I could hear. And you just freed yourself, if you so choose to, of that pattern that you've been carrying for a very long time. And it's just a matter of giving yourself permission to exist and to be in this spacesuit and to call yourself whatever the F you want to call yourself. That makes you happy, that makes your heart sing. because what's behind your eyes is nameless for all of us.
It's true.
It's so much more powerful than a name.
I'll just tell you one thing. Is that okay? Is it time?
We're over, but that, yeah, go ahead.
All through my life, I've been drawn to people with disability. And roughly 20 years ago, I did work for 10 years in a children's home for severely disabled children.
Doesn't surprise
And one of my greatest pleasures was to hold them in my arms like that. And yeah, that's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
so.
Yeah, not surprising at all.
Yeah.
And that you were healing that aspect of yourself every time you did that as well.
Mm.
That was your, intuitive knowing that that part needed, needs and needed your love. That part that felt rejected, that part that felt disfigured, that part that felt like they didn't exist. That every single time you did that, you were helping to heal that part that felt non-existent.
And I think maybe what I felt at the time was that it allowed healing to come to those children too. I sometimes felt it come through me.
Absolutely.
Not on purpose, it wasn't on purpose, but it came through. Yeah.
And the inner kiddos that you're healing right now that all went on the retreat, over 500 went on the retreat today for you.
Oh boy.
So over 500 adverse childhood memories that are actively being healed on for as long as, and so lots of very uncomfortable, unpleasant experiences from childhood, I'm feeling, are all getting a lot of support and attention now. So just know that all of those aspects they all are there receiving healing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they went to the to Mother Mary's garden.
Yeah. I thought so.
Yeah. So thank you so much for bringing that forward. That was really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And an uncomfortable share as well. It's not easy to, step forward in front of a group and say, hey, I'm nameless Diana. So, you're not nameless and you get to call yourself what you feel called to call yourself. So let that sit with you, no decisions required, whenever you're ready or whenever it comes to you, let it come to you. Ask, for guidance, ask your higher self, but allow the guidance to come forward. And I'm in my body now, I'm in my room now, I'm in this time now, and giving yourself permission to own the spacesuit that you're in fully and to feel free in it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It makes me think of something that I can't remember who said it to me recently. It could have been somebody even on the call in a session. I can't remember where it came through, but they said that when you're not in your body, it's akin to if you're driving in your car with your head sticking out of the window. Was that you, Jade? Yeah, no, I mean, but totally. That just totally came forward with this again, that like when you're not in your body, it's like, hanging out. When I was in Sedona on my way to the helicopter ride the other day, there was a kid with his whole body out of the sunroof taking pictures. I mean, but he was all the way to his knees out through the sunroof. And I thought of that instantly. I'm like, that's what it looks like not being in your body. And he's on the side of this cliff. And I'm sitting there like, just seeing it made me nervous. I'm like, what if, all I have to do is go over a bump and he's, I mean, I was uncomfortable to look at, but that's very much, such a good analogy for what it feels like when we don't want to come fully into our body, it's like this precarious hanging out the window of our car. So thank you, Jade. That has stuck with me. Alrighty, well, apologize for going over. Everybody's here though, so that then I would imagine that I have nothing to apologize for, but I do want to honor everyone's time and just, really allow the transmissions as they're coming in. The remote healing is going to get extended for, I guess, 28, let's see, till the 28th of this month. Let me think here. Yeah, I'll just put it to the end of the month. That's easy. So the whole month of June. So, and all of these things we worked on today will be going into that remote healing container. So know that this is going to continue to unpack as we go through, as we keep working through this month. And that, the fears that may be unconsciously there, know that if something happens that's triggering during this time, to try to treat it as a gift and to jot it down and bring it to the next session, or if we have one-to-one time together, bring it to that one-to-one time, that stubborn thing that just doesn't feel like it's been able to shift, bring it to the next class, bring it to our time together. If you didn't get package C and you want it now, just shoot me a message and we will, we can talk about it. Let me think if there's anything else. Just setting the remote container here for the next 2. Yeah, got it. Okay. Okay, no, just sealing the energy here. Thanking each and every one of you for being in this container with me. It's an absolute joy and a pleasure to be able to facilitate and, just witness what transpires in this space. It is such an honor to, be here and for you entrusting me and guiding you through these processes. So thank you so much for that. And I look forward to seeing everyone again in 2 weeks. Same time, same link. And if you have any questions in between now and then, always feel free to email me. Sometimes it does take me a day or two to respond to the email, so appreciate your patience. If you do send me an email and I don't email back right away, sometimes I take little email breaks for sanity. And I'm always available on Messenger too for text messages. Sometimes that's if you want a quicker response, that's one way to do it, is by sending me a message on Facebook. So with that, I will bid adieu and say goodbye and have a beautiful rest of your day and week. And I cannot wait to see all of your shining, smiling, amazing faces in a couple weeks again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So much love and light. Have a beautiful rest of your day and bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.